Yeah, but we're going to have a dog.
She and I were at a toy store, and all of a sudden she just couldn't complete a word. She had picked up a stick horse, and she was riding the stick horse, and she was trying to say "giddy up," and all she could say was, she kept getting stuck at the very beginning of it. She was going "get," and that was all she could get out. And I recall that she grabbed her mouth to try to make her mouth work, and I just started crying there in the store. It was really, I felt terrible for her. It was so frustrating.
Perhaps you feel like these parents and are concerned that your child is beginning to stutter. If so, we hope to answer your many questions and concerns about stuttering and give you ways to help your child. The first question everyone asks is, what causes stuttering? Let's listen to several experts discuss this.
The cause of stuttering is a mix of three things. First are the little discoordinations the child may have as he is learning to speak. Second is the child's reactions to these discoordinations. And third is the child's environment, how busy and fast-paced it may be. When we work with a preschool child who stutters, we concentrate first on his environment to see if we can make it slower paced and especially supportive.
Experts agree that stuttering results from an interaction of many factors. Stuttering usually begins between the ages of 2 and 4, when children are in a stage of rapid language development. At this time, they may be more vulnerable to other stresses that affect speech fluency. These stresses may be related to changes in a child's life or to the ways families interact together.
Most experts agree that some children are born with a tendency to develop stuttering. Whether or not they will depends on the ways in which their physical makeup and environment interact during the first 3 to 4 years of life.
We are now seeing some interesting research in the areas of genetics, neurophysiology, child development, and family dynamics. This research is helping to identify the many factors likely to be related to the onset of stuttering in young children.
All children have repetitions, hesitations, and disruptions in their speech when learning to talk. We call these disfluencies. They may have more of these when they're using complicated language, or are tired, excited, upset, or being rushed to speak. Let's take a look at some normal repetitions that most children have as they are learning to talk.
We all were trying to find him, and you know what? We let them go so they can find their mom and a new home. And when tonight, I got this bowl from my family.
We become concerned when children have more frequent and longer repetitions, like this, and prolongations of sounds like mommy, or they may block on sounds and words with no sound coming out at all, like this. Some children who stutter may also have behaviors such as eye blinks, looking away, or physical tension around their mouth or other parts of the face. In addition, some of the struggle and tension can be heard as a rising pitch, like this. Here are some examples of children stuttering.
I don't know his name. Maybe airplanes don't have names. It's for me.
Oh.
My dad is busy.
And maybe I can call them back later?
He told you guys bye. We're going to put this over his head so his head doesn't get hurt. When I grow up, I'm going to be a policeman like Daddy. los puppets. Y a mí me gusta el lema es porque ellos temen cuando él dice algo es porque es verdad. He's going into the kitchen drawer. She tripped over the garbage can. What's that?
If your child is showing one or more of these signs of stuttering, you'll naturally be upset, just as these parents are.
I actually became physically ill, worried, and I feel that feeling was based on the fact that I knew nothing about stuttering. There was something definitely wrong, and I needed to take some steps to get some help.
And as a parent who stutters myself, this caused a great deal of concern.
So yes, I felt very guilty. I felt like I had caused it, and I was the one person who had spent the most time with her. Mm-hmm. The other thing that hurt my feelings was everybody said, well, we never hear her stutter.
One of my concerns with respect to my daughter's, with respect to the speech problem that she was having, was that it would discourage her from communicating with other kids, and it would cause her to increasingly withdraw into herself.
All parents are concerned when they first hear their child begin to stutter. These feelings are normal, but experts agree that there are many things you can do to help your child right away. Here are some examples.
My name is Harry the Monster. How are you, little girl?
You got leaves for eyes. How come she doesn't want? How come she wants her to not take a break?
Well, she's not a very nice stepmother. 7. Now, Will, it's Chloe's turn to count. Will you count the balloons for me?
1, 2, 3.
There are additional things that parents can do. Let's listen to Leslie. What are still some triggers that might affect his fluency?
The main one, I think, and it took a long, that was something that we really tried to identify because we were told, try to really stay alert to what might be triggering this, what stressors might be, setting it off. And I think fatigue for Logan, my son, was the biggest. When he gets tired and, it's just, and he's also an emotional child, a first child. He just, he's a sensitive kid, and I think the main thing is if he's rested enough, the rest of him, he feels okay. He just needs, he kind of falls apart when he's overtired. And also, like I said, I just try to keep life as slow as I can. We need to keep it slower than I had it going for a while.
So the pace makes a difference for Logan.
It does.
And for you.
Yes, for all of us.
Here are other important ways to help your child. Be sure to have consistent bedtimes, regular nap times, and regular meal times. Discipline the child who stutters just as you would any child. Discipline promotes structure, so don't hesitate to set limits. Don't overprogram. Time spent just hanging out as a family is valuable. Turn off the television whenever possible. It can be a distraction. Be sure your child has plenty of time to get ready for bed and get up in the morning. Helping children know what to expect in their daily lives reduces stress and anxiety, whether they stutter or not. In spite of all these efforts, stuttering may continue to go up and down.
We've experienced a couple of setbacks where, sort of spontaneously, and from what I've read from the Stuttering Foundation literature, this is not uncommon, that you have a setback. And all of a sudden they are blocking again, and they are having a lot of tension.
One of the most frustrating things about stuttering is that just when you think it's gone, it comes back. However, that doesn't mean that your child can turn it off and on. What causes it to vary are the stresses of everyday life.
My older children starting back to school from the summer, I feel made her have a very difficult time. So the change in routine of our family, getting kids to school from summer was hard for her.
These stresses are in all children's lives, but children who are predisposed to stutter may react to these stresses with increased disfluency. To counteract this, we may want to provide extra support for these children during periods of change and stress. These same children may also have trouble when they have anxiety about new situations, go through language and growth spurts, experience potty training, or have too much excitement in their life.
He would either have periods of really great fluency, and then it seemed like as he was making new strides that all of a sudden he would become a bit more disfluent in the interim until he get over that hurdle.
Some children may be more sensitive than others and may tend to be more perfectionistic. These children may have stronger reactions to their stuttering as well as to any changes in their routine.
And Nicole has a personality of, she can't do something right really well the first time. She shies away from doing it. She wants to be able to do something right away.
Become more aware of life events and stresses that influence your child's stuttering. Keep a notebook or journal about your child's ups and downs and how they relate to stuttering.
If you don't see a gradual decrease in your child's stuttering within a month, it may be necessary to seek help from a speech-language pathologist experienced in working with children who stutter. This may take the form of counseling over the phone or in person, or you may want to take your child to a speech pathologist to be tested. We call this test an evaluation. It will help identify risk factors and how they may contribute to your child's stuttering. It's important to understand these factors as they help the therapist plan and carry out treatment for your child.
Once I contacted you, I felt much more at peace with the fact that I would learn about stuttering myself and that we would get the proper help for Hunter.
We felt immensely better once we spoke to you and scheduled the initial screening, because we felt that we were proactively doing something.
I called a center where we were living, and I talked to the woman who was head of sort of the pediatric speech and language program there, and I mean, she got right on the phone with me, and after about a half an hour of talking to her, I was a changed person. She just calmed me down and told me what I could do immediately to help, and that was basically slowing down my speech and also just slowing down life, and assuring Logan that everything was going to be okay, that addressing the problem and telling him, yeah, sometimes it is hard to speak, and it takes some people longer to learn how to do different things, and maybe it's taking you a little bit longer to learn how to speak right, but we're going to go get some help, and everything's going to be okay. It's pretty much what she told me to say, and I swear within a day he was already better. I mean, just having him know that it's amazing, at 4, how mature they can be, but he felt a lot better just knowing that we were going to take care of it.
In this section of the video, we'll talk about evaluating the child who stutters. First, we'll talk about the factors that put the child at risk for stuttering. Then we'll give you some examples of children who are at risk for stuttering. And third, we'll talk about the components